It's California, homie, when they do regulate. Better blue back, keep the pistol in the waist. North or south, the blood shit they wanna spray. And all the Asian homies, even on the back of K. And all the Boston girls gonna move the way. And she gets scared as how these bodies dropping every day. And all for private money, homie, I don't feel ashamed. But this is just the way it is, so I still have the age. In case they want it, they can get it, we don't hesitate. I know it's strange, I'm still sitting right to jeopardy. The I shoot like you don't know my game. I keep it by the G code into my 9D. Cause that's just like up in the hood, it's a killer state. Cause killing from your homie where they know to regulate. It's killing from your homie where they know to regulate. I keep it by the G code into my 9D. Cause that's just like up in the hood, I'm the killer state. It's killing from your homie where they know to regulate.
What's good, G-Life? Now, as we continue the countdown in all boy neighborhoods, we're going to be bouncing around from several locations. But as of now, we are still located in San Diego. Like I said, San Diego be getting treacherous, and there's just a gang of neighborhoods. That's just how it is. So we're not done with the SD quite yet. But we are going to be bouncing around. Now, to find the next boys neighborhood up on the list, we actually have to make our way to the upper county of San Diego to find the next boys neighborhood. And to be exact, we actually have to be traveling our way to the area of Vista. Yes, Vista is home to neighborhoods, several actually. And one of them being a boys neighborhood, which is known as the Vario VHB. VHB translating to Vario Vista Homeboys. Vario Vista Homeboys is the largest neighborhood in Vista. Because I know you have like Southside Vista and all that. But this neighborhood is the largest one, going at it with all the neighborhoods, roughly around this area. Because like I said, it does get treacherous. You have several neighborhoods, just, pretty close by. From Cribs to Bloods to other Hispanic gangs, you know what I mean? It be getting treacherous right here. But the Vista Homeboys, from what I was told, is there a few hundred members to them. And I was told that they're just not located here in the area of San Diego, but they actually also have homeboys that reside in Mexico. They have a clica over there in Mexico. And clica in Texas, from what I was told. You know what I mean? So they're just not located here in Califas and San Diego, but this is their birthplace. This is where they originated at. This is where they hold it down. They also do have a few Chicano rappers from this group, like Little Güero. You could check out his music right here on YouTube. This is the barrio in which, he is from. And the Vario Vista Homeboys is a neighborhood that has been well established here since the 70s, from what I was told. And they pretty much roam around. Their territory is pretty much everything that is Vista. You know what I mean? You could just pretty much find them spread out throughout the whole entire area. You know what I mean? Like I said, there are roughly a few hundred members to them. So you can pretty much find them scattered. That's pretty much their get down. You know what I mean? But they are known as the townsite parqueros. Vista townsite parqueros, one of the clicas. Townsite being the parque in which they do their thing, hold it down, and continue to still be right there representing theirs. You know what I mean? Because they are still established, they are still active, and they still hold it down for that VHB, and continue to still put it down for that San Diego and the Vista Homeboys right there. Now, as we continue ourselves right here in San Diego, now heading towards the southeast of San Diego, you already know the southeast is definitely an area that be getting treacherous, full of all kinds of neighborhoods. The southeast of San Diego being one of the most, infamous, notorious areas, jam-packed full of a gang of neighborhoods that put in a gang of work. You know what I mean? And not only with Hispanics, but also with black neighborhoods as well. You know what I mean? This area definitely be cracking. And in this area, we're able to find one of these boy neighborhoods, that's up on the list. Now, this neighborhood, I had already covered before the San Diego one. I was misinformed in that one, but shout out to the homie Zoomer who would, put a homie up on game. Right here in this area, it is home to the 43rd PBZ neighborhood. 43rd PBZ translating to 43rd Party Boys. 43rd Party Boys is a neighborhood that has been established right here in the southeast of San Diego. known as, PBZ, not PBS. So don't be confused with that. And the Party Boys neighborhood, although there is another Party Boys neighborhood in the 805, this Party Boys neighborhood and that Party Boys neighborhood is two different neighborhoods. It's just a coincidence that they happen to have the same name. But I was, informed and assured that there were different neighborhoods. That this one actually started in the 90s as a party crew, and then, transitioned into a neighborhood. They were a pretty large party crew that was handling business, you know what I mean? That, they were in the party scene, but, they were packing the heat and standing up. And if anybody wanted beef, they weren't going to back down, you know what I'm saying? So these individuals handle business and establish a pretty good reputation right there in that area. Their neighborhood was, the reason for their name is because their neighborhood was on 43rd and Division. And 43rd and Division, their neighborhood still, stretched out to Logan Avenue. You know what I mean? All the way to 45th Park. 45th Park, being, 45th Park also being like the heart of their hood, their domain, their dojo. You know what I mean? It's the area in which they had it unlocked and where they would, do their thing. From partying, went to, tagging, tag banging, to, fighting, shootouts, and all kinds of shit. You know what I mean? And then, climbing up that ladder and earning their rights, and establishing themselves. And feuding with other gangs that are a lot more larger and old school, because they do feud with like the Shell Towns, and then also feud with like Shermans and the North Parks and all kinds of barrios, you know what I mean? So these guys were handling business because these other neighborhoods wanted to recruit these individuals. They wanted them to be a part of their neighborhoods, but these guys, said, nah, we're cool doing our own thing, just being solo bolo. So then these neighborhoods started being like, well, if you guys don't get in, then we're going to have some problems. And, well, they were like, well, then so be it. And the problem started, but they never backed down. You know what I mean? And handled their business. Now, from what I was told, is that this neighborhood is roughly about 57 members to them. And still continue to represent theirs and hold it down for the, PBZ, the 43rd Party Boys right there in the southeast. All right, now as we're sliding on through to the area that is known as the Desert Empire. The Desert Empire obviously is an area that cracks, even though individuals want to think and say what they want. Those are just words. It's not facts. You know what I mean? I only come and spit the facts. The Desert Empire definitely be cracking. Now, the Desert Empire is what's considered to be areas like, Desert Hot Springs, Palm Springs, Coachella, Indio, and etc. Those are the areas that's considered the Desert Empire. And yes, these areas definitely crack. Yes, these areas have gangs. And yes, this area is home to one of these boy neighborhoods. Now, we'll be heading towards the area that is known as the Desert Hot Springs, where we're able to find one of these boy neighborhoods, which is known as the Vario TCB. TCB stands for True Crime Boys. True Crime Boys is a real neighborhood in this area. I have even put reports right here for these non-believers or the ones that want to say otherwise. Facts don't lie. You already know, bro. Court documents, black and white, it don't lie. So people can feel however they want. Don't change the facts. Facts are facts. Now, like I said, this area is treacherous because you have several neighborhoods within this area, where the TCB is at. You got the West Drives, you got the Gateway Cribs, you got the Browntown Locals. Man, you got all kinds of autos, and they don't get along with each other. There's heavy tensions. There's beef. Shit be going down right here. Now, the TCB's neighborhood is everything that's from Hacienda Avenue, all the way to Chola Drive, and from that all the way to Two Bunch Palm Trail, all the way to Palm Drive, and back around to Hacienda. So everything that's in the middle is considered their barrio. Everything that's throughout Ironwood Drive is what's considered their barrio. You know what I mean? So that'd be Iron Drive and West Drive, Ironwood and Del Rey, Ironwood and Villa, Ironwood and Ramona, Ironwood and Cactus, Ironwood and all of that, bro. That is what's considered their barrio. Now, fun fact, the TCB neighborhood did start off as a tag banging crew because it used to be a crew that originated out of Los Angeles. So it was a crew that was in Los Angeles. They had homies that had moved out to this area, began recruitment, and then shit, just got hectic over here. Started feuding with other gangs and standing their ground and holding it down, and it manifested into the Vario that we know of it today. You know what I mean? At least from what I was told, and that this Vario is essentially with the South Central portion, Los Angeles portion, and the clica right here, that they are up to almost 60 members, or if not 60 members. They couldn't give me a specific number, but roughly around there with their whole, areas combined. Just holding it down for theirs, and the true crime boys. Like I said, a real Vario that be holding it down within this area. This should be no joke. The TCB definitely be putting it down and continue to still maintain and representing theirs and the TCB for the Desert Empire. Another Vario that we have right here in the known as the Desert Empire. Like I said, several neighborhoods right here in this area. And another boys Vario. Now for this one, we actually have to be maneuvering our way to the area that is known as Coachella. Yes, Coachella is home to several Varios, from the Proyectos, Tiny Locos, to the 52nd Avenues. All kinds of Varios in this area. And one of these Varios being a boys Vario. Right here in Coachella, Vario Rifa, you know what I mean? Or Vario Coachella Rifa. Which is known as the 50th Boys. The 50th Boys is a Vario right here in Coachella off of a sub-click. They are all Vario Coachella Rifa, but they're all their own individual gangs. 50 Boys, no being different. Now, they're known as 50th Boys because they're located on 50th Avenue. Everybody knows that the 50s get treacherous. That's where you can find a lot of these neighborhoods, for 52nd and all that, you know what I mean? It'd be going down in the 50s. So they're located in, throughout 50th Avenue. A small clica, roughly one of the more newer sets out of, Coachella. And from what I was told, is there roughly about 30 members only to them, 20 to 30 members. They already have made headlines as well and hit with sweeps. So these guys do handle business right here in Coachella, homie. It'd be no joke. The 50th Boys definitely be making some kind of noise, you know what I mean? Motherfuckers don't be making the headlines just for selling, cookies and shit. So the 50th Boys do handle their thing and been holding it down right there in Coachella and continues to represent theirs in the 50th Boys. Now, as we slide on through to the area that is known as the SGV, stand up. Yes, the SGV does have one of these boy neighborhoods within this area. Now, to be more specific, we will be sliding on through to the area that is known as West Covina. Yes, West Covina definitely be getting treacherous. It definitely be cracking right here. It ain't no joke. You already know. And despite what individuals want to say, it doesn't change it. You can say that it looks nice. You can say that, it looks like it's rich over there. Whatever you want. It doesn't change the facts. Facts are facts, bro. Like I said, don't let the areas deceive you. It may look nice. Just because it looks nice doesn't mean that it is nice. You know what I mean? If not, then why do they have so many murders within this area? Those are the police reports, bro. They don't lie. You know what I mean? Now, in West Covina, you are able to find several barrios, you know what I mean? From the West Covina 13 to the West Covina, to the Ks, KSC, to the Cribs, to all kinds of neighborhoods. And one of these being a boy neighborhood, which is known as the Vario West Covina Project Boys, not to be confused with the other Project Boy gangs, this one being different. They're all different. None of them are the same. Now, the West Covina Project Boys, their territory is everything that's located from Sunset Avenue to Roland Avenue, all the way to Vincent Avenue and to Garvey Avenue. So everything that's in the middle throughout Workman Avenue is what's considered their barrio. So Workman and Wallhaven, Workman and Ellen, Hartley, all of that is what's considered their barrio. Now, people are wondering, man, West Covina ain't got no projects. Hold up. Now, they're referring to the apartment plexes that are all connected that look like projects. This is not the only neighborhood that does this. There's several other areas and gangs that use this metaphor like this. You have the MS that say the North Hollywood projects. You have the Brown Familia that say it for the Santa Clarita projects. They're not real projects because they're not, low-income housing projects, but they look like projects, kind of like the A Street projects as well, the Wyven Woods, even though they're not real projects, they look like projects. That is what they're referring to, because they look like projects, but they're not actual projects. So take what you want from that. You know what I mean? So they're referring to that, to those apartment places that are connected. That is what they're referring to when they talk about projects. So they're known as the West Covina Project Boys. And yes, a real neighborhood that has been right here holding it down and continue to still hold it down for their barrio. Up to 60 to 70 members from what I was told, because they're just not located in this area. But yeah, they still continue to represent theirs in the West Covina and the SGV and then Project Boys. Now, as we slide on through to the 805, yeah, the 805 definitely has neighborhoods. A lot of them, you know what I mean? The 805 is definitely right there putting it down, homie. You know, it ain't no joke up in the 805. Should be getting real. And this is home to several of these boy neighborhoods. But to be more exact, we'll be sliding on through to the area that is known as Fillmore. Fillmore is home to several neighborhoods. You know, the Filtros gangs is what roams around right here. There's several of them from the north side, Filtros, west side, east side, and all that. But there is some boy neighborhoods within this area. We'll be starting off with the oldest one, not the largest, but the oldest, which is known as the East Side Filtros. East Side Filtros, obviously translating to Fillmore, ESF, you know what I mean? ESF 13, but also known as ESF TBZ, not to be confused with the Brats, two different TBZs. This TBZ standing for the Boys Gang. So it's known as Eastside Fillmore, the Boys Gang, or Eastside Filtros, the Boys Gang. This is important to know because there is another boys neighborhood right here, but they have heavy feud, heavy beef, heavy animosity. So it's important not to get them confused. There's the Boys Gang, and then there's the other Boys Gang. You know what I mean? But this Boys Gang is located right here in Eastside Fillmore. Their territory is pretty extensive. It's everything throughout A Street, throughout 2nd, throughout 3rd, you know, all the way to Ventura Street. And from Ventura Street, their territory still extends all the way to where the Pole Creek's at. So everything that's in the middle is considered their barrio, throughout 2nd, throughout Cespe, throughout Santa Clarita Street. All of that is what's considered their barrio, you know what I mean? Close to, throughout the Fillmore City Hall, throughout those back streets, throughout Mountain View Street. All of that is what's considered, you know, throughout First Street, it's what's considered the Boys Gang. And this neighborhood was started roughly around the later 80s, you know, mid to later 80s. They were started in Fillmore High School by the football players, because it was a football team before it transitioned to being a neighborhood. That's what they were known for, you know. So Eastside, the Boys Gang, has been representing right here in the 805 and continue to still hold it down. And now, to cover the second boys neighborhood right here in Filtros and Fillmore, we'll have to be heading towards the north side of Fillmore, is where we're able to find this boys neighborhood that's different from the other boys neighborhood, because they've been having heavy animosity since the gates, which is known as Nutty Side Fillmore, north side Filtros, Little Boys Gang. So the other one is the boys, these are the little boys, because obviously the boys gang started before them, so they're not as old. But they became the largest of the bunch. Even though they're not as old as the East Side, they became the larger, you know, of the bunch, being in the hundreds, and not just located here, but in Mexico and other locations. And the North Side Fillmore, their territory is everything throughout Fillmore Bike Path. The territory still stretches beyond that, all the way to the opposite end, all the way to 5th Street, all the way to 8th Street. So everything that's in the middle is considered their barrio. But the heart, you know, throughout 3rd and B Street and Blaine. But the heart of their hood, their main domain, their dojo, and all of that, it's on 4th Street. 4th Street is the, you know, what they represent, the 4th Street, Calle Cuatro. That is their home domain, their dojo. That is where it goes down, homie. That is the heart of their hood. These guys don't play right there, you know what I mean? They be handling business. And continue to still represent it for theirs in the Nutty Side Fillmore and them Little Boys. Like I said, even though they're not as large as the East Side, they are the larger, as old school, I mean, they are the larger of the two. You know what I mean? Because their numbers blew up, you know, rapidly. And this gang started roughly around the later 80s, early 90s when this neighborhood, and it did start off as, in the school as well as, you know, it was like a crew. Not a tagging crew, but more like a bunch of, you know, homies that hang out and do their thing. And then, you know, the boys gang tried to recruit them. You know, they went down with that. They wanted to do their own thing, solo bolo. These guys try to, you know, apply the pressure. These guys didn't let themselves, and ever since then, it has been going down, and the beef has been real since then. Between these two established, neighborhoods, and still continues to be that way. But yeah, but that's what's up with the Nutty side, Fillmore, and them little boys gang right there, the LBZ. And not to be confused with the Florence gang, because these guys write F13, but it's NSF13 or just F13. You see it sometimes as filtros, so not to be confused with Florence. So two different F13s. And they do have rap artists that, put it down for theirs. You could check their music. They have several, actually, so you can check their music out right here on YouTube. They have a few rolas, but that's what's up with the Nutty side filtros. And now, as we continue still here in the 805, but now we're heading to an area that is definitely treacherous. One of the 805's largest neighborhoods, who has made headlines so many times. It's not even funny how many times these guys have made the news for putting it down, homie, for doing real shit, dog. These guys ain't no joke, this is an old, well-established barrio within the 805, already going back 40s, 50s, por allí. This neighborhood was established, and then everybody started hearing about it roughly around the 60s. These guys have always been making noise, have always planted their flag right there, man. These guys be holding it down in the area that is known as Santa Paula. You know what I mean? 12th Street. Now, you're probably wondering, hey, Shadow, I thought you said that you were covering Boys neighborhood. Hold on, we gonna get to it. Because in this area, they are known as several. They are known as the Party Boys, the Bad Boys, because they have several cliques. You got the 12th Street, you got the Crimes, you got the Locals, you got the Bad Boys, you got the Party Boys. So they have boys attached to them. Some of the well-known ones is the Party Boys, and the Bad Boys was well-known, because like I said, they made headlines, they made the news, they've been hit with sweeps, several sweeps, homie, you know what I mean? I ain't talking about just one, I'm talking about several of them. These guys be doing real shit, homie, you know what I mean? They ain't no joke right here. And their Vario is throughout all of the SP, you know what I mean? Throughout the whole entire area. Throughout SP Street, throughout 11th, but their main domain, their dojo, because 13th Street, they do all of that, Satakoy, Orchard, all of that. We're talking about the whole entire area, throughout the Parque right there, the last Padres Park, but 12th Street is the heart of their hood, their main domain. That is their dojo, you know what I mean? That's why it's in the title of the name, with the 12 Streeters. But like I said, they have several cliques that are all large and cover their own, individual areas. The cliques are just massive. They could be their own neighborhoods as it is. Because this neighborhood is roughly in the hundreds. These guys be no joke, homie. This Vario, like I said, one of 805's well-known Vario that has been holding it down right here and continue to still hold it down for theirs and putting theirs on the map. You know what I mean? Hey, they don't play right here, homie. Them Bad Boys and Party Boys, they'll get it on and crack it. And not to be confused with the other Party Boys in San Diego, two different Party Boys neighborhoods. But these guys still continue to put theirs on the map and hold it down right there. You know what I mean? For the 805. Shout out to the homie Mousy. Shout out to the homie Travieso. And shout out to the homie Wicked out of this barrio, still putting it down.